Testing. Let's down a little bit here. Alright, that should be good. Cool beans. Okay. So this is what we're working on here. I think last time was basically ngrok wasn't working. This works, but if I do ngrok HTTP 3000, it's online. It's just this free domain doesn't connect. Some reason. Oh, it's because hold on. Allow unsafe sites. Chrome. Settings, privacy and security. Where is that? Settings, privacy and security. Under safe browsing. Here. I have no protection on. So that wouldn't be the issue. This is online. API address. This is the URL. This URL should be working. Maybe it's because of this. Let's refresh just to make sure I'm logged in and everything. I'm not. Okay, so there's the app. General app, user manage. That should be the correct one. It's in the allow list. Let's go ahead and pause this. Music here.
Make sure that you have 4 things. First, download the source code from our GitHub repo and make sure you've opened it in your IDE. Next, install ngrok as well as Node.js and npm. And finally, make sure that you have an app configured within our Zoom marketplace. If you're not sure how to do this, we have another video showing you just how you can create this app right here. If you have all those things, then you're ready to continue. And let's go ahead and open up our IDE. So the first thing we'll do here is start an ngrok tunnel, and this on port 3000. And this will allow us to have an HTTPS URL to use for our Zoom app. We'll navigate back here, and we'll set the home URL as that index page right there.
Okay, let's see if we have that. Access. See where the home URL here. That's odd. Okay, this needs to have .dev on it. Okay, that's done.
Then we'll move on to the redirect URL for OAuth, and we'll use the same ngrok domain, but we'll want to append the /auth route to it.
Okay. Maybe it's because of this. Well, I'm gonna get rid of that for now. So he said in the redirect URL here, make sure this is up to date, dev/auth. Okay, that's all good.
Make sure there's no spaces ahead or after. Perfect. And then we want to tell Zoom that we really do want to use this for our OAuth redirect URL by adding it to the allow list. Finally, let's add the base domain for our ngrok URL.
So I wonder if it's because it's free URL. So redirect domain allow list base domain one line reason to test sample to test sample app. Okay. Continue. Continue. What else did he say? Domain allow list. Yeah, I did that. An OAuth allow list. I think that was over here. Redirect URL. Oh, it's already pre-filled. Okay, let's see what else.
To this domain allow list. And that's everything we need to do for the app credentials page. Head on over to the features tab now. And because this is a basic reference app, we don't have too many features to add, but click Add APIs under the Zoom App SDK section. We're looking for the Share App permission, and it's right there. Perfect. We'll make sure that's selected, and we're ready to continue. Let's head back to our IDE and open up a new terminal window. Here we're going to install our NPM dependencies.
Did that.
And because I've already installed them, it went pretty quickly. We can see right here that it sets up Husky for pre-commit checks.
Got
and
that.
also generates the session secret for us. Along with that, if we look at our files, we now have a .env file that's been created where you can see there's a field for our client ID, client secret, and redirect
I'm
URL.
gonna do a.
So let's go ahead and grab those from our
See
Zoom
if this
app
client
and
ID and secret is
fill
up to
out this
date here.
.env file. We go back to the app credentials page, we can copy the client ID, and we can paste it within the ZM client ID field.
Oh,
And
whoops.
we'll do the same thing with our client secret,
My redirect URL is wrong in my env.
as well as our redirect URL.
That might have been the problem. It's always something goofy. I bet you, that'd be crazy if that was the problem. Hold on. Okay, local app. Okay. Allow. Oh, does he have it as auth? He has it as auth, doesn't he? Yep. Let's give that a shot here. Bloody EMVs, dude. Alright, let's see. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and remove app and then add app. Oh, not yet. Hold on. No, I might have to restart the server here. I had the EMV redirect URL incorrectly. It didn't have .dev at the end, and also it wasn't /auth. So I'm wondering if that's the issue. That'd be freaking hilarious if that was the issue.
Great, so that should be just about all the setup we need to get started with this app. Now we can use npm run dev in our terminal window to start up a development server. You'll see that it gives us a local host domain, which is where our server is running, but we'll actually want to use the HTTPS URL from our ngrok server.
No, still doesn't
So
work.
go ahead and copy that, and we'll paste this right into our browser so that we can see our Zoom app running in the browser.
Dang, this is still not working. I wonder if I have to restart ngrok too. No. I went to auth. No. What the heck, man? See what this does. Man, this is still not working. This is working. Hold up. Let's. Okay, so. He's got client ID is self-explanatory, client secrets is self-explanatory, so redirect URL. He's got the HTTPS with the ngrok URL .io/auth. App name, session secret. This should all be correct.
ID, and we can paste it within the ZM client ID field.
Wait, hold on. Does he do?
PIs under the Zoom app SDK section.
Is he setting everything to /auth? No.
The share app permission, and it's right there. Perfect. We'll make sure that's selected, and we're ready to continue. Let's head back to our IDE and open up a new terminal window. Here we're going to install our NPM dependencies.
I'm gonna reinstall those.
And because I've already installed them, it went pretty quickly. We can see right here that it sets up ASCII for pre-commit checks and also generates the session secret for us. Along with that, if we look at our files, we now have a .env file that's been created where you can see there's a field for our client ID, client secret, and redirect URL. So let's go ahead and grab those from our Zoom app in the marketplace and fill out this .env file. We go back to the app credentials page, we can copy the client ID, and we can paste it within the ZM client ID field. And we'll do the same thing with our client secret, as well as our redirect URL. Great, so that should be just about.
Okay, OAuth allow list, and okay, let's check that. Access. Yeah, dev auth. And domain allow list. Oh, interesting. Home URL is missing. Okay, oops. Missing required OWASP response headers. Does the ngrok free URL cause issues with Zoom apps? Often cause issues. Oh. Yep. Blocks many dynamic tone domains, including. Cloudflare tunnel. I wonder if anybody else has these issues. 0 comments. Oh, it changes. That's interesting. Okay, so let's do npm run dev here. $3,000. What's different? Doesn't seem like it's different. It's not different at all. Redirect URL is the same. Oops. This is stupid. So I have to freaking pay for ngrok to do anything? This is really confusing. And not helpful at all. This is in 2022. This is in 2023.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to run your local domain. And I go back to the browser.
Ugh. Cannot stand an Indian accent. This is overly complicated here. So this doesn't make any sense because it doesn't change. And so it's saying home URL. Hold on. Zoom app. OWASP headers with ngrok free URL. Oh. Let's see if I can configure it. So it says probably the app.js here. It has these headers. How do I adjust these headers to fix this error? Helmet config. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if this maybe works. Restart the server. Probably go ahead and restart ngrok too. Okay. Still. Let's try refreshing here. Local test. Let's remove it and then add it. Functional content. Still, man, what the hell? This is infuriating. So I think what we have to do next is... Oh wait, hold on. Let's curl it. Come on, Beavis. Okay, so let's curl this URL, see what happens here. Error. Okay. This is the error from the curl. Well, let's try this. No. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Oh, I'm not in Bash. I don't know. How do I get into Bash? I really probably should know this. How do I enter Bash? I'm gonna turn on Bash. Oh, yeah, here we go. And then I can curl. Curl -I and then the URL. Oh, hold on. Just copy this. Without that extra stuff, let's do this. Method. Brew install curl. You don't have curl installed on Bash. Yeah. I really honestly don't understand most of this stuff. I just do stuff until hopefully it works. Scooby Dooby Doo. It sure does take a while. try again. What the hell? It's already locked. Exit. Curl dash V. Brew curl dash V. Brew install curl. See if I can do it in ZSH. Dude. This is ridiculous. Okay. Curl dash V. Curl's on here. Curl dash I. Man. Let's try this. Such file directory. The localhost runs perfectly. Zoom's still giving me those errors. Hold up. That's not it. It's in Surface, I think. It's not giving me those errors anymore. Still doesn't work. It's just this URL is just flat out not working at all, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's try. Do I have Postman on here? No, probably should. Oh. That's working here in Postman. this is odd. It works just fine in Postman. Why would a request to my ngrok URL work as expected from Postman, but not from my browser? Let's check the network and we'll try the URL here. It just says other. SSL protocol error. What if I did HTTP here? No. This is the console error. Is this running HTTPS here? It's running HTTP. HTTPS 3000. Should get nothing back. Yep. Now it gets it right. Strike rock. No, you can't. Bible's explicit. In no cross-dressing. Let's see. ngrok URL works in Postman, but not in web browser. ngrok URL is HTTPS, but ngrok requires forwarding to HTTP. Is this the problem? This is my header config with helmet. CSP is extremely strict. Same port. Try this. Restart here. Still nothing. ngrok status 4,000. It's open. Postman hits it. No. Postman does not hit it. That's interesting. With HTTP. Okay. It's on. Let's see if maybe this changed somehow. Interesting. Machine web source logo 4,000. Okay, because this is running on 3,000, isn't it? Yep. Okay, I probably need to update this package JSON here. Oh, no, just the app.js here. Where is the old portaroo? Redirect hosts. Oh, I don't see where the port's set. Let's just try to redo this here, but with 3,000. Okay. Still no dice in the browser. How's this working? That still doesn't work. Localhost 3000, that works. Still no luck in the browser. This totally blows. And Postman doesn't grab it either, which is odd. Oh, this isn't working. This isn't running at all. Oops. Now send it. Now send it. Serious? Working on 3000. Let's check. Let's go ahead and check localhost 3000. That is running. Send this. Still not working. Still no. Oh my gosh, dude, this is so freaking ridiculous. Ugh, I hate this kind of crap, dude. Ugh. Hey, Carissa. I'm doing good. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. Didn't mean to ignore you. I was just in the middle of something, but yeah, I'm doing all right. Just working through trying to get this stinking test app from Zoom working, and this ngrok crap is just not it. I just can't seem to figure out how to get anything rolling here, but it's just, it doesn't even make any sense. I'm doing HTTPS to HTTPS. This isn't working, is it? Now this isn't working for some reason. That's Bologna, dude. Oh my goodness, dude. Alright. Here's what I'm gonna do. This might be an ngrok problem. So Chris, do you have any software dev questions, or like anything that you're working on, or you want to build an app, need some advice? Let's see. Zoom sample app tutorial. I see, like, the Zoom stuff is so outdated. It's just garbaggio. So Zoom video SDK. Building your Zoom. Okay. This will probably help a lot. Wow, this is long.
So, here's what we have in store for you guys today. Today, we'll be diving into getting started with Zoom apps, JavaScript SDK. Yeah. You may have heard of Kahoot. They have the public Zoom app. And as you can see, by clicking the button, you're able to join a meeting and Zoom app over immediately. So you can find Zoom apps in the Zoom app marketplace. We have some common examples you may have heard of, like Pen Note Taker, Prezi, Warmly, and Read.ai. So it's really showcasing a variety of different use cases that you're able to build in Zoom Client. Now, we get to the good and fun stuff. Here's a overview of what we'll be building for. We're going to build a simple Next.js app that secures the Pixie OAuth. By the end of this workshop, you will know how to implement the OAuth installation process, methods for implementing the Zoom app JavaScript SDK, and we'll also share best practices for how reloading and troubleshooting. So again, in this session, you will learn how to implement OAuth endpoint. You'll learn about the Zoom app JavaScript SDK and its APIs that's available to you, and about securing sessions. At this point, I'm gonna hand it over to Max, who will walk us through code snippets and dive deeper into the hands-on part of this workshop. Take it, Max.
Thank you so much, Dante. So yeah, like he mentioned, we have a few key components here, and I really just want to share a little bit of code to familiarize you with what we'll be looking at through the day. So here's an example of how we would implement a secure session and what exactly I mean by that. So when we're going through that OAuth Pixie flow, that's OAuth proof key for code exchange. So we need to exchange a code verifier that we store server-side. And in order to do that, we're going to store it in a session, which we then can encrypt in a quick key. And so that's really the starting point for what we're going to build today. Is we'll start with the Next.js app. I'm going to send over some files that will implement sessions, and then we'll look at how we can use those sessions to begin installing our app using OAuth with Pixie. Next slide, please. So, talking about OAuth with Pixie, you might be familiar with
Oh, this is cool.
API.
Looks like you can do it all with Next.js. That would be so tight, dude.
You know that we require a redirect URL for that OAuth flow. And so part of what we're going to implement today is that function that serves as our endpoint for that OAuth flow. So you can see here, if you're familiar with the Pixie process, we're getting a code and a state that we use. We're setting that state, and then we're making use of our session to get a verifier. And we'll dive into this code specifically, including those get token functions and get debuff functions, which are able to make use of the Zoom REST API using the same token that we're using for our Zoom app. So that'll be the second part of what we implement. Next slide, please. And then finally, of course, we'll want to show you how you can use the Zoom Apps JavaScript SDK. Next.js has some interesting requirements in terms of running asynchronous code.
What?
So,
Hell yeah.
practices and some of the challenges there. But here's an example of how you would do that within UseEffect, which, if you're a React developer, is kind of an interesting pattern. Awesome. So here's a breakdown of the different steps that we'll be taking throughout the workshop. We have a GitHub repository that I'll direct everyone to, and we'll move on to the step 00 branch to start. That's going to be the scaffold of this Next.js project. Basically, just something I created with the create next app generator, and then I added on a couple niceties to make it easier to develop Zoom apps with. So we'll go over everything that I've added to that. And we'll work to implement sessions. And those sessions will allow us to store data for the OAuth Pixie flow. And so we'll create our initial install endpoint there. We'll move on, we'll create the OAuth redirect. Just talked about the code there. And once we do that, as you mentioned, we'll implement that Zoom Apps SDK. And from this point, we will have a working app inside the Zoom client. But we'll go over some of the issues we might
Dude.
have as a developer, having an easy to work with developer environment, and just
That would be so nice.
Before moving on to the final
Using
step,
Next.js to build the Zoom app with? Are you kidding me? That would be freaking amazing.
all of our documentation to see how you can extend it and make it your own. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to need today.
Oh, great. It's using ngrok.
Environment that can work with JavaScript kind of just as a base, and the terminal will work with maybe Git to clone this repository. We'll provide you with an exact list later. But let's go over some of the unique things that we'll need today. Starting, of course, with Zoom. We want to make sure that we have a Zoom account where we can create an application on the Zoom marketplace. And so that would mean that your user has roles that include developer privileges. And
At least this is up to date.
Next, we're going to want a free ngrok account. A paid one works as well, of course, but you don't need to use a paid one for this, and I'll
Okay. So it's not the free URL. That's the problem. Hopefully. This is up to date enough that it's not the free URL.
and create an external HTTPS tunnel because the Zoom marketplace requires that we use an HTTPS URL. And as you see, it also requires that we enforce strict transport security on the site as a header. So we'll get into that further. But to finish this up, we will need Node.js. We use npm to pull in all these dependencies.
Let me get some water real quick.
sure that everything here is what you have. So you want to have a JavaScript IDE. Whatever you like to write JavaScript in really works. I'll be using WebStorm. Visual Studio Code will work great. You also want a Bash terminal really to follow along. If you're on Windows, you should be able to access the Windows subsystem for Linux to get a Bash terminal. And otherwise, you should have a Bash. Yep, I'll just make sure. I'll wait a moment to make sure that this makes sense. Everyone's ready to get started. And we can begin.
So
All
let
right.
me get this one thing, Max. Really encourage you guys if you have any feedback or any ideas you may be having to throw it in the chat. That way we can respond and help you build out the use case that you want.
Right, exactly. Yeah, if you run into any issues building this out, whether it's with your environment,
This
or
is
any of the
literally
steps
like
that we go through here,
most
feel
of
free
building
to
stuff.
put it in chat. It should really be more
Just sitting through
elaborate, just
YouTube
to make
videos.
sure that
I'm
we're
just
all
honestly
on the same
glad it's not
page,
some dude from
before
India
moving
that has
forward.
an
So,
accent that I absolutely cannot
for
understand
anyone that's
whatsoever.
following with,
Fortunately,
know
they
when
have
you're ready to go.
Americans that speak
and otherwise we'll move on
intelligibly,
and begin
so that's
sharing
nice. But
our
this is most of it.
our
This
workshop.
is
So I will share my
this
screen
is
here.
building software.
And one of the first things I want to do is put this URL in the chat. This is the GitHub repo that we're going to be working with, called Getting Started with Zoom Apps. So if everyone wants to clone this repository, clone it with HTTPS is the way to go. Then
I'm gonna follow
you
along.
can either open this in your IDE or bring it up in a terminal. I'm going to use a terminal just because that's...
I'm gonna pause this and then I'm gonna actually get rid of everything I've done here. Starting from zero is not a bad thing, man. If you get to a point where you're just totally stuck, you have no idea, and this is brand new, this is like a year old, so I'm gonna start again. That's sometimes the best way to go, especially if you're just totally stuck and nothing's working. It's so much better to just start from zero again instead of like wasting days or weeks just trying to make your initial approach work. So let's go ahead and oops. I'm going to get out of Bash here. Exit. CD rm-rf. Oops. Zoom simple example. Get rid of that bad boy. Okay, and then I gotta clone. I'm expecting the repo to be in here. They did not link the repo. Are you for realsies right now, Z's? Let's see if I can copy the URL here. GitHub.com Zoom. What does that say? Okay, Zoom Apps Workshop 00. Okay, we got it. So I'm gonna clone this. Okay, so git clone. Demo Zoom app. Welcome to the stream. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm following a... Oh, come on. Unable to access the request URL, return arrow 503. I'm trying to follow along with this Zoom app thing so I can figure out how this works so I can build my own. History here. Let's not add a new name to it. Just let it do its thing here. You know, it'd be really cool, bro, is if you actually worked and didn't give me any problems. I would be so stoked if you just worked. I guess if I can't clone it, let's see. That'd be bananas if I can't clone this. There's no comments on the repo. Is there? There's a PR. No issues. Is this just private or something? I don't know why is this taking so long. This is UD. What? Well, that's weird. There's no... Oops. There's no comments on the video. Git clone gave me 500 error. Why is that? Oh, maybe it's GitHub. Try SSH. I don't have a VPN on. This is very odd. What does it all mean, Basil? public key. Personal key. How do I generate a GitHub SSH key? That might be helpful. Bash. Okay. See this. We'll do Vortex Media Consulting, gmail.com. I've never done this before. I'm just gonna copy this command here. Then paste. SSH key. Okay. I have a personal key. I'm going to go back to the repo here. Copy with SSH. Let's try that. Git clone. Hey, that worked. CD Zoom apps. All gooch. Alright, so now that's Dunzo, Washington. npm install. Sometimes you just gotta do things a little bit backwards, and that's just how it goes. Okay. I think
This is the GitHub repo that we're going to be working with, called Getting Started with Zoom Apps. So if everyone wants to clone this repository, clone it with HTTPS is the way to go. Then you can either open this in your IDE or bring it up in a terminal. I'm going to use a terminal just because that's a little bit more universal. And we're just going to clone this. Great. So I'll open this up in my IDE after I change into that folder.
Right, so here we have this, and we can either continue using this terminal to interact with our app, or if you have a terminal in your IDE that you like to use, you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to switch to the terminal in my IDE from now on. From here, I'm just going to run npm install right off the bat.
Did that.
And of course, this will install our npm modules. But what it'll also do, yes, this was a clone to TimeEd. So I cloned this into take a look at this right here. Did a git clone on that URL from that repository I shared. And then I changed into that folder.
So, you know, just like as a refresher, this is a simple Next.js app, JavaScript that is a web application, and we're going to be building this app that is both available in the Zoom client during meetings, after meetings, and we're going to show you what that whole process looks like.
Yep, exactly. So I'm going to open up my terminal here again, and then I just went into that folder and I ran npm install.
Max, when you get a chance, can you zoom in a little bit? So
We should be seeing a zoomed in screen now. Do you see that?
yeah.
Okay, awesome. So let's see. We've run this npm install here, and what this has done is it's taken this .env.example file right here.
I don't know why my stream is all funky Brewster right now. A little weird. It's not showing my whole screen. That's very strange. Oh. What the heck? It's all zoomed in and crap. Oh, is it this baloney stuff that I did? I might have to just get rid of this. Yeah. Yeah. I accidentally hit one. Doggone. Oops. I have this fancy, like, zoom in thing that I honestly don't ever use, but it's caused me more problems than anything else. Probably gonna get rid of it, actually. Okay, that's better. Let's get rid of this. Hold on. I keep hitting this stuff on accident. It messes up my recordings and stuff. Oops. Okay. Now we shouldn't have that problem any more. Okay, I'm gonna change the input to my main screen. Nice. Now we're good again. Thank goodness. Alright, I'm actually gonna move this here. are Gucci good. All right.
And it has generated a .env.local file. And in doing so, we've randomly generated a session secret that we can use for our secure sessions. We can see that we need a client ID, a client secret, and a redirect URL. So that's going to be our next step, is to go obtain those things by creating an app in the Zoom Marketplace. I know that when I create an app, I'm going to need an ngrok URL. And when you're on a free account, you get a new ngrok URL every time you restart it. So I'm going to start ngrok right now, and I'm going to copy that URL. So either in this tab, or I think best in a new tab, in a new terminal tab, we're going to go ahead and use ngrok. So that looks like this. You use the ngrok command. You tell it that we want an HTTP tunnel. Today we're going to use port 3000.
Okay.
If you hit enter for that, you can see that we're given an ngrok URL right here. So we'll go ahead and copy that.
My ngrok URL is not dynamic like that. Huh. That's interesting. Maybe that was like one of the big issues, because it's always showing this.
Sessions. We can see that we need a client ID, a client secret, and a redirect URL. So that's going to be our next step, is to go obtain those things by go ahead and use ngrok. We'll go ahead and copy that. If you hit enter for that, you can see that
this whole screen.
I think, let me know if this is making.
That's the web interface and forwarding. Maybe they just changed that? Yeah, maybe it's just not dynamic like that anymore. Maybe they fixed it or something. It was like a problem that people had, and maybe they fixed it. Okay.
Making sense if everyone's following along. Should have npm install run. Okay, Tymed, where are you at in the steps? Let me
So
navigate.
what Max just did, he just opened up another terminal, and ngrok is a tool that allows you to tunnel HTTPS from your local environment,
I'll get our
so you can render
mirrors.
your site securely.
bars.
So that requires open up another terminal and running that last command he just ran. If you can show us that.
Yeah, so I'll start all the way from the beginning too. Yeah, exactly. Let's start from the clone. So I copied this URL from GitHub right here. So I clicked the code button, and it has this clone drop down right here. I copied this URL, and I took that into a terminal. I use this terminal, but this one might be a bit harder to read, so I'll go over to my IDE. And I use the command git with the argument clone, and I pasted that URL in here. And what that did was downloaded this Zoom Apps Workshop 00 file. Okay, and so after that git clone, I moved into that folder so that I could start working on it, and I ran npm install. and so that just installed some dependencies. So for those of you following along, let's make sure that we have the folder downloaded and that we have run npm install before we move forward. This is really getting these credentials set up. Will just require a little bit of configuration in Zoom, and we'll come back into this app, paste some things in, and we'll be all set. So once we've cloned that and we've installed, like I mentioned, we'll have this .env.local file right here. And we'll get this ngrok URL. So I'm going to take this URL and I'm going to give that to Zoom once we configure everything. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like.
Okay, just setting up the Zoom app.
Great, so I've just logged into Zoom Marketplace here. This is where we can create an app. This is where your app would end up being published. And so once we log in and with an account that has developer privileges, we'll see that we have this develop dropdown as well as a manage dropdown. So for those following along, that's another step that I want to make sure we can accomplish. Let's make sure we can log in and we have the ability to click build app. So I'm going to go ahead and move through, and I'm going to click build app, and we're going to build a general app today. Awesome. So let's make sure that this app is user managed. And here we can see we have app credentials. So this is a client ID and client secret that we need. But it's requesting that we provide it with a redirect URL. So I had you copy your URL from ngrok so we can paste that in here. And because I know what I want the auth endpoint to be, I can fill it in now, and we're just going to put /auth at the end of that. So that's where Zoom is going to redirect to when it completes the OAuth flow. And now, when I say OAuth flow, it might not be exactly apparent what exactly I mean by that. So let's take a quick look at our documentation so we can have a better idea of what this redirect URL is and why we need it and where these credentials are going to come into play.
So Max, can we? Oh, okay. So yeah, little attention to the redirect URL, which I think is important. So thank you for the question you had. I didn't want to know, where did you get the redirect URL from?
Yeah, so let's go over that. So after I did my npm install, I opened up a new terminal tab and I used ngrok to create a tunnel to port 3000 on my local system. And so when I run this command, it will generate a new URL each time. So I want to leave it running, but I can copy this URL here and paste it in as my OAuth redirect URL. Now, because I know the app that we're going to build out today, I know that we're going to want it to be on the /auth rep. We're going to build out our app so that this connects with it. But for now, you can just enter this in here, and that's how you can get your redirect URL. But I do want to talk a little bit about the OAuth PXE flow and how I know that I need to do this, right? If you haven't built an app, it might not be apparent that you need to go through this process or what OAuth PXE is, or even that we use it. So if you navigate over, you don't have to necessarily follow along with this, but I just want you to be aware that at developers.zoom.us is where all of our documentation lives. And so with a couple of clicks, I can get through to the information that I need so that I can build this out. So in this case, I want a documentation for our user managed OAuth. So user OAuth right here. And it gives us some information about OAuth 2.0. Enables you to securely integrate with Zoom APIs and webhooks. What it doesn't mention there is also Zoom apps. And so if we click over to this page right here, it gives us a little bit more detail about what we need to do to get an access token. An access token will allow us to call our APIs and to authorize for everything to show that we are who we say we are. So we really want an access token to make use of our APIs and SDKs. So let's look at these two steps right here. First, we want to request user authorization. This is the flow you're used to when you install an app. It tells you the permissions that it's going to use, and you accept those. You say allow or install. And then once that authorization is approved, it's going to redirect to the OAuth redirect URL that we set. It's going to give us some information that allows us to request that access token. So request user authorization and request an access token. When we request user authorization, we are really just redirecting the user to a Zoom US/OAuth/authorize URL where we fill in some parameters for it that tell it exactly how we want to authorize. So you'll notice there are some similar things here, like a client ID and a redirect URL, like we have in the .env file. So this is where these are going to come into play. We'll generate our own state value, which is optional. And this can allow you to prevent cross-site request forgery, as it says down here on the bottom. So we'll go through that optional extra security step. But what's not optional is this code challenge and code challenge method. And this is really what OAuth Pixie is. You could do this OAuth authorization without these, and it would just be regular OAuth. But these code challenge and code challenge method allow us to create an extra layer of code exchange that we can use to prevent third-party attacks and people intercepting this request. So we'll build out this. This essentially we'll just build out a URL and we'll redirect our user to it. It'll look something like this. And then that will, after they allow our app and install it, that will send it back to our redirect URL that we just set. So let's scroll down here to this request access token. So once we get to this point, we'll be using our client ID and client secret in order to request an access token from this endpoint. And so for the most part, we'll just need to retrieve the code that's sent to us and also fetch the code verifier that we've stored in our session. And those are two pieces. This is actually the device code version, so we won't need a device code. Let's see if yeah, this just includes device codes. So we won't need to include a device code. We'll just really need to provide it with a code verifier and a code as well as our redirect URI if we're using a device. So how do we use it? So let's take a look at this. So this is our API. We've got our user's endpoint right here. If we send it an access token with it, that enables us to view information about ourselves, which your access token should, then we can print out an object like this, and we can use this for the code that we're writing. We won't necessarily be making too many API calls. We'll really just make an API call to get a deep link and redirect the user back to the client. But this OAuth process is very important. And even if you move on to kind of more complex OAuth flows like a client, an in-client OAuth flow, you'll still want to have this browser-based flow that we're going to implement. So this, everything we're building today is going to be the foundation for really any Zoom app that you want to build. And just stopping for questions and comments and making sure I am caught up with chat. And so I just want to make sure that everyone's in the same spot before we move forward. So I've pasted my specific ngrok URL here. You should paste your ngrok URL here and put /auth at the end. And this will automatically add it to our OAuth allow list.
And just for additional context, what ngrok is doing, taking the website that is running on localhost 3000, and it is porting through that random generated HTTPS endpoint that we got from ngrok when we executed that command. And this allows us to run the website securely. So Max, it would be great if you can go to localhost 3000 and then show them when you get started that the ngrok URL takes them to the same exact landing page.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good call. I'm just going to walk through a couple more steps here for configuration after I make sure that all the questions are answered. So I'm seeing what happened to IPFS. I'm not sure if I know what you're referring to there. Was that an acronym? But yeah, this will be recorded as well. If anyone wants to go back and watch these steps, we'll also publish a blog about how to use this application and kind of the details that went into creating it. So the next configuration step here is to go down to the Surface tab on the left-hand side. And so we're just going to click this meetings option right here so that we can enable our app to work within Zoom meetings. And what this does is tell, because you can build really any type of application with this flow, this tells Zoom that we are looking to make a Zoom app specifically, or a web application that's going to run within our Zoom meeting. So we'll want to give it a home URL, and we'll want to allow that URL just for security purposes. So it's easy enough. We can just paste in our ngrok URL here. Make sure you don't have a space at the end. And we'll see that right now it says it's missing required OWASP headers, which is very important. And we will discuss that in just a moment. But let's make sure that we have pasted in our ngrok URL here. And then we've also added it as in our domain allow list.
Did all that.
I'm just going to give an explanation of a test domain. And so in the domain allow list, you don't want to have the HTTPS protocol. You just want the domain name there. And that's how you configure this to work within Zoom meetings and to be displayed in the Zoom client. We can also add some in-client app features. We have a lot of stuff down here. These are a few different modes that you can enable along with the SDK for a Zoom app or a team chat app. So I'm going to enable the Zoom Apps SDK. And we're not going to directly call any JavaScript or any APIs except for the configure API, which we don't have to enable through here. But I just want to show you that you can search for, let's say, share app, which we'll use as an example here. And you can add that as an API. And you'll need to do that before you use it within the Zoom client. Okay, and so with this, we can see that we now have a Zoom app in meeting scope that's been added to our application. And we have a client ID and a client secret that we can use with our app, as well as a redirect URL. So let's copy these into our .env.local file.
Did that.
And go ahead and try to start our app.
Oops. What did I do, George?
So that's that client ID, pasting it in there. Now I'm copying my client secret. Typically, you wouldn't want to show this to anyone, let's say in a webinar with a lot of people. But because I trust you guys and because I know this app is scoped to just be a basic Zoom app, I'm going to go ahead and paste my client secret there.
Yeah, I don't care if you guys see it. This is just
Let's see, and then we
practice.
just want to copy this redirect URL that we pasted as well into our .env.local file and save it.
You are saved.
You can see this file is ignored by Git, which is intentional so that we can't accidentally push up any of these credentials to our repository. So let's take a look at some of the other files that are in this project before we run it, and some other things that I've set up outside of a regular Next.js app. So as you can tell, we generate a session secret here. So I have a file called gen session. We don't have to go over that. This isn't a necessity. I think it just makes it easier following along with a sample app to not have to do this extra step in the terminal. And so I usually end up adding this to my apps. But I think what's more important with this basic app that I've changed is I've added some headers right here. And these headers are required by all Zoom apps in order for them to be displayed in the Zoom client. And so if you don't have these headers, what you'll be presented with, even if your app works outside in a browser and you know it's bulletproof, it will just display a white screen and a console error if you don't have all of these headers in here. And so alongside that, if your content security policy isn't configured correctly, you'll also get a console error because this is enforced. And so with strict transport security, we'll want to make sure that we have HTTPS everything, essentially. We'll want to make sure that everything is secured with HTTPS. And then our refer policy, our X content type options.
Maybe that's what the issue was on the last app, but it was
and these depend on your use case. Really, you can just use same origin in most cases, and if you disable content sniffing, then I think these are sane security options. This content security policy is left pretty open for sample purposes, and because when you start using these reactive libraries, often you have to use, especially in development mode, an unsafe inline or an unsafe eval. So for production, your headers would look a bit different, and you would probably actually set them at the server level where you were hosting your application. But it's important to note that these were added in the nextconfig.mjs file, and these are helping the application to run in the Zoom client. And so because we're not running our server yet, when we navigate over here to our Surface tab, it's pinging our ngrok URL, and our ngrok URL is having trouble. So you could also set these headers through ngrok, but it's, we just need to start our server, and then we can go ahead and have those headers available to us. So let me just clear this up so we can see it a little bit better. And I am going to start up our server.
Okay, let's see if this works. Oh, it's Next.js.
Great. So I used npm, the node package manager, with the run command, and then told to run the dev script. And this is just the default developer server that's provided by Next.js. So we're just starting up that default development server. It's hosting here on localhost 3000, so we can click that to see it, and we can see that it's pulling from our .env.local file.
Okay, good news. Let's see if this is running.
This I actually think is cached. Actually, you know what? Here's what we need to do. If everyone could go to your repo, if you're following along, and I forgot to tell you let's check out step 00. We won't lose anything we've done with our .env.local, but let's start from the beginning because the main branch is actually the completed app. So we'll run git checkout step 00. And what this is going to do is change the files that we've pulled down. You can see that even in this version, I still have these headers set. And now when I navigate, oh, let me open up localhost. Now when I start our server again, should just be presented with a black screen. And so this is where we're going to the application to run command and then told to run the dev git checkout step 00. And what this is going to do is change the files that we've pulled down. You can see that even in this version, I still have these headers set. And now when I navigate, oh, let me open up localhost. Now when I start our server again, should just be presented with a black screen. And so this is where we're going to start, a little sneak peek in terms of where we're going. But if make sure you're on that step 00 branch to get started if you're following along.
Let's see their repo here. Let's try to find it again. Hopefully my history is not embarrassing. Okay. So since I'm following along, git checkout main git branch slash -d step 00 git checkout -b step -00, and then I'm gonna get pull. Actually gonna do git pull origin step 00. Shit, hold on. Okay, git remote add origin. Oh, git remote. I have origin. Oh, git pull origin step 00. Okay, I'm gonna git reset origin step 00. Okay, that way hopefully I get that black screen that he's talking about. Oops, I do not, Mr. Poopy Pot. Okay, hold on. Let's restart the server here. Might be Cacherude. Ready? Well. Okay, I'm gonna do git stash. Okay, maybe because those changes, there was some changes that were unstaged. Nice, black screen. We got it. Sick.
That step 00 branch will just have a blank screen here and not a lot going on. And so we can see that if we navigate to localhost 3000, we can see our app, but the problem is that it's not secured by HTTPS. So let's navigate to the ngrok URL, where now we can see.
Okay, please work. This is a bit of a moment of truth here. Work, man. Fuck. And fuck you. Why the fuck is this not working? I hate this kind of shit so much. So much. Try redoing this. Try restarting the ngrok server. Damn it, man. This is so freaking stupid. This is absolutely freaking infuriating. Is this working? Yeah, this works, man. Damn it. I hate this kind of shit where they update stuff that breaks other crap. I almost bet you it's because they did the persistent URL. And Zoom doesn't know how to handle it. But that doesn't make any sense. Because I'm not doing anything with Zoom right now. So maybe that's not it. This is odd. This doesn't make any sense at all. Let's try Safari here. Oops. So this would have nothing to do with Zoom. Let's check this gateway. It's online. See if it logs this. Does it log it? No. I just put that in. Nothing, man. This ngrok crap just isn't working or something. But it does work fine. Clear requests. I sent a Postman request. And it works just fine. Why is this happening? Oh, somebody followed me. I bet you it's a fake account. 13 followers, May 2025. That might not actually be, it might be fake. Some good looking girl, not looking at the camera, probably fake. No, you can't. I already told you. Yeah, right. Yeah, everybody's gonna be shooting those gay pride parades in that game. Yeah, you should have a woman playing a woman in a movie. Pretty obvious. The old data waitress at Applebee's over corporate executives. That's true. Yes, that is really true. I don't think dudes actually want to date women that are like high up in corporate positions that much. Women or dudes want support. They don't want, competition in the marketplace is a little bit masculine and stuff, and dudes want a support system for their stuff they're doing. I guess for the most part. I see a gorilla smoking. I don't know what anybody else sees, but I 100. I mean, there's just the top of his head. There's his eyes. This is like gorilla mouth, and then he's just blowing a cloud of smoke. Oof, that's disgusting. You know what's interesting about this is that the Native Americans that actually own this piece of land, when the Americas conquered it, they themselves conquered it probably from a different tribe. So, not sure why you're supposed to feel like you're better than anybody or you have rights to anything like that. That was a very fat lady. I gotta get back to work. That doesn't even make any sense. Man, is there anything else you need to see that university is kind of whack? Because, I mean, she is an internet prostitute, which it's a job. It's one of the oldest jobs, except, it's on the internet now. She has sex with other people online for money, and that's being taught in a university. I guess I'd have to understand the context, but I guess it's a psych class, so I guess maybe that makes sense. But it is a little bit funky, man. Like, porn actress, like, yeah, in a university. I guess this is a really good demonstration of maybe why some of these like classes like psych are really unnecessary. Gay. Yo. That's a cupcake, dude. That's not even a burger. What the heck? You just enjoy it. Icky. So there's one thing that's interesting about this is they're saying like I should be cracking down on cartels, not communities, and they're talking about how people are going after like people that are just coming over. But that's human trafficking. You know, there's people that are getting paid a lot of money to traffic people over the border. And so it is an unfortunate kind of side effect that you have to send those folks back. But it does send the message to the potential clientele of these traffickers that, hey, even if you pay for these services and you get over the border like you paid for, probably going to be get sent back. So not really worth going to the Coyote to try to get over the border and thereby seriously hurting one of the major revenue sources for the cartels. So it is an indirect attack on cartels by cutting off a revenue stream, a major revenue stream for them, by deporting citizens, regular citizens that paid to get over here. My guns. For sure. Yo, that's raw chicken. That's fucked, dude. Oof. That looks rough. Yo. I'm not really sure where that comes from. That's ridiculous. Whoa. Guess all the Epstein files are coming out. I honestly don't give a shit. Oh man. They're just playing with their food. Shit. Term limits on house members is a great idea. I'm into it. Ugh. What a disgusting piece of shit that person is. I don't know. Maybe I would push him. I'd at least grab his shoulder just to respectfully pass by. But he is an asshole. Yeah, good on you, bro. Yeah, push him. Push him harder. Now he's a full-on asshole, and now you get to be an asshole back. Yo. What a piece of doo-doo. Yeah, probably. What? Well, I mean, I am a Trump supporter, but I guess there's a point here because Japan has been historically associated with the Nazis. So, I don't know why he's surprised. If he really believes that the Trump people are Nazis, why is he surprised? That's my question. That actually is really indicative of why he thinks Trump supporters are Nazis, because clearly he doesn't know history very well. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think it's weird. No, probably not. Wouldn't that just be a bus? What's a bus? Oh. Well, I guess this means kind of over because I've been browsing X now for probably a lot longer than I need to have been. I came here for Grok, but to actually do work, but then I accidentally kind of started wasting my time on the feed. It's probably part of the whole strategy. What was I doing? Ugh, this is so annoying. Why isn't this working? Okay, so I can know. I can know that This has nothing to do with Zoom. Fundamentally, it doesn't have anything to do with Zoom at all. Because I'm not even dealing with Zoom right now. I'm literally just trying to funnel. So I'm literally just trying to funnel this ngrok URL to the local host, but the ngrok isn't actually working. So I'm gonna create a new one. So ngrok URL not funneling to localhost on browser, but is funneling via Postman. On browser, I get SSH error, right? SSL protocol error. SSL protocol error. There's a mismatch as how the request is handled. Postman works because more flexible. Ignore TLS errors. Attractive protocols hand HP. Blah blah. Returning to an HTTPS local server, self-signed servers, but ngrok expects forward HTTP by default, leading to handshake failures. Especially paid custom domains. Players set up my conflict. If your local server is HTTP, okay, let's give that a shot, Rooney. So I have actual job stuff that I have to do, but kind of addicted to this right now. Localhost 3000. Okay. So that's running now. Let's try Postman. Postman is working. Let's try this. That is not working. Localhost 3000 is working, but the ngrok URL does not work still. So let's try. What does it say? Let's go ahead and try this. Maybe this will work. Don't know. No, that defeats the whole purpose. I don't want it to go to HTTPS. I mean, let's see if it works though. It probably doesn't work, but let's see. That is working, and then let's go to the ngrok. ngrok does not work. Okay. And I'm guessing Postman doesn't work, or does it? Oh. Nope. Postman does not work. Okay. So we want then. So let's just try this. Wait, hold on. So for example, Apple's and poorly goes with SSL. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's try Google. Yes, that's what I'm using. Let's try ngrok HTTP. Grab this. We'll try Safari. Safari doesn't work. Let's try private window. That doesn't work. Let's see. There's a warning there. Man, this is really odd. So it's definitely something to do with do I have oops. Let's check the app here. Oh. Not entirely sure how this is working. Next config headers. Generate session. Check the package JSON. Nothing particularly interesting there. That's for the env. Yeah, the ngrok tunnel just isn't working. It doesn't give me any error message either. Except SSL protocol. Local services HTTP. Incognito. Oops. Dude. I honestly have no freaking clue what the heck could be going on here. Maybe I have to uninstall ngrok. Let's try that. I'm gonna uninstall ngrok here. Brew uninstall ngrok. Okay, brew install ngrok. And then we want to do this. Oops. Okay. Now let's try this again. Hit with Postman. That works as expected. And that does not. And the HTTP works. Can I change it to HTTP? It doesn't change to HTTP. It won't change to HTTP, which is a little odd. It always changes to HTTPS, which is a little strange. I don't want to reload that page. Incognito window. It always switches to HTTPS, which is a little weird. Literally won't let me run this HTTP. Huh. That's a little weird, if you ask me. Well, I am at a total loss, folks. This is infuriating. I had to pee.